Good afternoon, Rotarians. Well done. You have a lot of energy. See what I did there? See, I was ready for the energy program. We're excited you are here. We've got a packed house ready for this great program. And before we get going, we are flipping this whole program around in a way today that almost may have never been done at Rotary. So bear with us. We're leading with the speaker. And then we'll follow up with our new member introductions, guest introductions, and announcements. So you asked on a recent membership survey that you all said, hey, change things up every now and then. And we had a great chance to do that today. And so this is one of those things that also, in case at the end, our guest speaker, Lanny, hops up at 12:50, he is on a plane here very shortly. And so we wanted to give as much time to the speaker and the questions today. And he may stay till 1, but it just depends how much his wife is elbowing him in the process. And we want to make sure we have plenty of time for this important discussion. So it gave us a real opportunity to shake things up. So bear with us today. So there's the warning. However, we do want to say a couple of thank yous right off the bat. We do appreciate the team who was doing the welcoming today. It's really important. And I'm grateful for your service, Kathy Brown, Rachel O'Neill, Eric Yarberry, and of course, Hank the dog, who is the most exceptional speaker or greeter we have, second only to the great Rick Fleetwood. So thank you all for helping us out today. We do want to start with the prayer, pledge, and prayer. And so to do that, I'll ask Kelly Fleming to come up, and then we're going to get right to Drew Harper and the introduction of the program. So Miss Kelly, get us started off.
Good morning. Let's start with the four-way test, shall we? Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Bow your heads, please. All-powerful one, we thank you for the opportunity to pause and come together with like-minded people. People who care for others and their community and act on that care. We know how fortunate we are to have so much when others do not, to have access to health care, a roof over our heads, and a circle of support. We thank you for these blessings. May we share a friendly smile with all we encounter and freely perform acts of service for our fellow men. In so doing, may we help bring peace to an unsettled world. With abiding gratitude, amen. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. We appreciate you. And again, we appreciate each of you being here. I appreciate Lanny being here and knowing that he's got a busy day in this afternoon, but it was still a big priority for him to continue this presentation and help us better understand some of the challenges and opportunities that are ahead in terms of energy. We had a chance at Arkansas Business to interview Lanny not long ago. I think you're going to learn a lot today. And kicking off the program, Drew Harper, who will be doing our official introduction. Thank you, Mr. Drew.
Thank you. Thank you. I got a golf clap. I'm excited. Well, good afternoon. As we have heard a couple of times this year from speakers, energy is one of the most critical and challenging things that is facing our region. Southwest Power Pool coordinates the electric grid for 14 states, including Arkansas, and is facing unprecedented growth as peak load is expected to forecasted to increase by up to 50% over the next decade. We understand from the governor the importance of being able to sustain and support energy needs as a major economic development factor. And today, Lanny Nickell, President and CEO of Southwest Power Pool, is here to share his expert insights on the current complexities of the grid management, the rapid shift of our energy resource mix, and the future of energy in Arkansas and beyond. Please help me give Lanny a warm Club 99 welcome. Lanny.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for your response. It's so good to see so many people that are energetic about energy. Mitch, ran with it. But I doubt there's anyone in this room that's more energetic about what we are doing than the employees at SPP. I've got my officer team with me today, or at least many of our officer team here today. Why don't you stand up and be recognized? It takes a community to do what we do. And you see from our mission that sentiment reflected. It says, we work together to responsibly and economically keep the lights on today and in the future. It's not something that we do just right now. It's something that we have to be thinking about continuously and planning for all the time. And what's more important than anything about that mission isn't just keeping the lights on and doing that in an affordable way. It's recognizing that the only way we can be successful is if we work together. SPP can't do this job alone. No single utility can do this job alone. No single governor, no single legislator. It takes all of us working together, recognizing the strength in community and the value in doing that in that way. Our vision is leading our industry to a brighter future while delivering the best energy value. Now, I can tell you, before Winter Storm Uri, nobody knew who Southwest Power Pool was. In fact, how many of you in this room had heard of Southwest Power Pool before Winter Storm Uri? Okay, I was wrong about that. No one outside of Little Rock, where our headquarters is located, knew who Southwest Power Pool was. I'm pretty sure I can safely claim that because nobody outside of Little Rock is here today. But we went under the radar, and for good reason. We wanted to be under the radar. We did not want to be in the limelight, but Winter Storm Uri changed that for us. How many of you all recall what Winter Storm Uri looked like and felt like? And what the electric power grid, a lot of my officer team, we never forget that. But in Texas, $200 billion of economic impacts. The event lasted, 3 days? But the loss of power across those 2 days resulted in $200 billion of economic benefit or impacts, losses, damages. More importantly, 250 lives were lost. The product of power that we assure is reliably delivered sustains lives and enhances lives. And we don't ever forget that at SPP. That's why we take so seriously this mission that we have. And we are now a lot more in the limelight than we've ever been. We are being relied upon to lead our industry. And it's a position that we embrace. We have tremendous expertise. We have skill sets that are hard to replicate. We know a lot about how this grid operates and needs to operate, and we need to be upstanding telling that story. And that's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing right now. It's telling that story. It's helping a broader audience understand why what we do, working with our utility members, is so important. We are a top Arkansas employer. We have some of the highest skilled employees in the state. Our average salary is now over $100,000 a year. We hire engineers, we hire accountants, attorneys. All kinds of skills are needed to make this machine work. We have a really low turnover rate. People enjoy working at SPP. Our turnover rate's around 5%. And our engagement scores are among the highest in the state. They routinely run above 90% engagement. That's incredible. It's a testament to the leadership that our team provides and the employees that work so passionately in support of our mission. We serve member utilities across 14 states. I always like to give people a geographic perspective of what that looks like. You can see our southern border extends into Texas and northwestern Louisiana, and then extends all the way to the Canadian border that we have to our north. Now, we also operate, how many of y'all have heard of the 3 interconnections in the United States? The grid, some of you. The grid is essentially broken into 3 parts. The eastern interconnection, which we operate in the western part of the eastern interconnection. There's ERCOT, because Texas has to be different. And then there's the western interconnection that basically extends to our western border. So today we are the Regional Transmission Organization. We're a 501c6 nonprofit corporation. And there are 8 other operators that do things similarly to what we do across Northern America, 2 of which are in Canada. But we will be, as of April of next year, the first regional transmission organization to operate in both the eastern and western interconnections. We will be extending our footprint into Wyoming and Colorado, with some of that in Utah and Montana. So we're very excited about the expansion effort that is underway. It will allow us to hire more employees and, more importantly, establish a stronger presence in the West and provide competition to California, because Cal ISO is the only regional organization operating in the West today. As a result of that, we've attracted significant interest from utilities that operate in the Pacific Northwest and in the Desert Southwest, and they are committed to joining the market functions that we operate. So not only do we act like the air traffic controller in terms of our reliability function, some of you may have heard that analogy before, we are responsible for continuously balancing power supply and power consumption every second of the day, every day of the year. But we also have to operate the transmission grid in a way that's reliable and safe, and that function is very similar to what air traffic controllers do for the airline industry. These entities in the Pacific Northwest and the Desert Southwest are very interested in participating in what we refer to as our energy markets, because that allows them to exchange cheaper energy for their needs on a regional basis. That reduces cost and produces savings for all consumers. So, with that in mind, what does that value proposition look like? Every year we calculate what we believe the benefits of being part of SPP are. What does that value look like? Last year, we determined that we provided savings to consumers, the 18 million consumers in our 14-state region, at a clip of about $4 billion. Now that's pretty substantial, pretty significant. And every year it grows. And the reason that this happens is because if Arkansas needs more power and we can find it cheaper in North Dakota, the utility doesn't have to worry about finding that on their own. We can do that for them, and we can do it quickly. Every 5 minutes, we produce a new dispatch instruction for every load-serving entity within our footprint. And that's why we're able to achieve a significant portion of that value. There's other parts of the value proposition that I won't spend a lot of time talking about, but the improved reliability is huge. Again, being part of a larger community allows us to more reliably operate the grid. So, we've been around a long time. Believe it or not, SPP was formed even before I started 28 years ago. Although it feels like it started then for me. In 1941, shortly after World War II started, the country recognized the need for more airplanes. And of course, airplanes require aluminum, and aluminum requires bauxite, and bauxite is really prominent just outside of Hot Springs, Arkansas. And they started a plant at Jones Mill. Jones Mill, this plant, needed, and you're an engineer, you'll love this, 110 megawatts. Actually, I think it was 120 megawatts. 120 megawatts of power. Now put that in perspective. Today, our footprint consumes a peak demand of 56,000 megawatts. So this plant needed 120, much, much less than 56,000. and the whole state of Arkansas only had about 100 megawatts of power. So clearly there was a deficiency. The deficiency was made up by 11 utilities that agreed to pool their excess power across the region at the time to help meet the demand of Jones Mill and obviously the national interest of this country. So even after the war ended, there was a broad recognition that that kind of community, that kind of collaboration will continue to provide power. And if you look at where we're at today, that collaboration continues to be needed. We are facing similar concerns and similar challenges about not having enough power to meet the growing demand, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. Our generation mix today consists of a lot of different types of generation. We have wind generation, we have coal, gas, nuclear, hydro, solar, and other forms of generation. Wind generation has been predominantly the largest growth component of our energy mix. And you can see over the last 8 years, it's grown by 138%. Now this is the production, the energy production from the generation mix that we have across our 14 states. By the way, our utilities are the ones that decide what kind of generation they need to build. We don't decide that. All we do is tell them how much minimum excess capacity they have to have at a minimum. And then they have a job of meeting that. They get to choose how they do it. But we've seen a tremendous growth in wind energy. It's up 138% over the last 8 years. On the other hand, coal generation is clearly declining for a lot of reasons. The older generators in our footprint tend to be the coal plants. They were put in back in the 70s, and a lot of them are just no longer economical to maintain. Also, as you know, the environmental regulations have put a lot of downward pressure on that type of generation. And the combination of those factors has caused a 43% reduction in the amount of energy from coal generation in our footprint. What's interesting about this, though, is gas. The gas generation has increased by 39%. And that's despite the fact that we actually haven't seen a lot of new gas generating plants being built. Just this year, in fact, was the first time we saw a fairly large gas generator added to the fleet. But what this points out is the fact that wind generation, just like most other types of renewable generation, doesn't always produce energy. It only produces, as you might imagine, when the wind blows. All right? Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Same thing with solar generation. It only produces energy when the sun shines. And so, very weather dependent. You have to have something to back up those types of generating sources when the wind isn't blowing and when the sun isn't shining. And battery storage isn't yet a commercially viable replacement on a long-term basis. Today, they operate about 4 hours before you have to recharge them. If you think about Winter Storm Uri, we need something to last days, not just hours. So, even despite the fact that we haven't added a lot of new gas generating plants, we are seeing increased production because we use that to back up the intermittency of wind. We are also seeing a shrinking amount of excess generation. 8 years ago, we had a lot of excess. In fact, what this bar chart shows you is not only the peak demands, represented by blue for historical and yellow for future, but the minimum amount of excess capacity needed for reliability reasons. In other words, how do we assure that we have enough generation to balance peak supply requirements? That's what that gray bar on top of the blue and yellow represents. What is the minimum amount? In 2019, we had well above that minimum. We're getting dangerously close. Dangerously close. And by the way, 8 years ago, our reliability analysis indicated that we could expect to not experience a loss of power any more than 1 day out of every 140 years. Which means you could live your lifetime and expect not to lose power because of a balancing issue. This minimum requirement that we're getting dangerously close to hitting is a 1 day every 10-year expectation. So 8 years ago, one day out of every 140 years, and now we're struggling to meet a 1 day out of every 10-year reliability expectation. By the way, 1 day out of 10 represents 2.4 hours every year. The reliability that has been afforded consumers is not something that's going to be easy to ever restore, because it takes 5 years to build a new gas plant. At least 5 years. And other forms of generation could take longer. So that's one of our challenges. The other challenge, and by the way, this isn't just a challenge, it's an opportunity, but load growth or demand growth is expected to drastically increase. Over the last several years, you can see represented by the blue line, consumption has only increased at actually a little less than 1%. And it was forecasted to increase by only about 1% every year. We are seeing forecasts now, and a lot of this growth is expected to be artificial intelligence, data center type demand. But it's astronomical. So layer that expectation on top of the fact that we already are getting dangerously close to not having enough generation. It's what keeps me up at night. It should keep all of us up at night. We need to make sure that this is well understood so that we can pursue the appropriate solutions. Now, before you want to be negative about data centers and artificial intelligence, how many of y'all know you already use artificial intelligence, right? It's prevalent. Every time you do a search on your phone, you're using artificial intelligence. By the way, every search is now 10 times more consumptive of electricity than previous searches. It's been projected that the growth in data centers and artificial intelligence will increase our GDP by $15 trillion. That's triple what it is today. So there is a tremendous opportunity to embrace this challenge. And by the way, it's also a national interest. This administration clearly wants to win the AI race, and we have to figure out how to help do that for national interest. Much like in 1941, SPP was created to help with that. This is something that we're doing more of, and that's telling our story. We produced this actually last year. It's about a year old, hard to believe. But it's helping to tell the story so that decision makers understand how they can help. You have to understand it before you can help. So I've already talked about the fact that we're getting dangerously low on excess capacity. We are becoming more and more dependent on intermittent sources of generation such as wind and solar. During extreme weather events, we saw this during Winter Storm Uri, all types of generation are prone to fail. There are emerging technologies. There are answers on the horizon, but we're not there yet. Nuclear generation is at best 7 years away and more likely 10 years away because it's just not commercially scalable. It's expensive, very expensive. And then we've talked about AI and data center growth, which again is something to embrace, but it's going to take time to build the infrastructure. It takes 6 to 8 years to build new transmission power lines, at least 5 years to build new gas plants. And by the way, we need all of the above. We need every different type of energy that we can get, whether it's wind, solar, gas, coal, nuclear. We need all of it. The more diverse the portfolio, the better off we'll be. How many of y'all would invest in a single stock for your retirement plan? Oh, one of you would. Great. We'll talk later. Thanks for being honest. So what do we need to do? We have to build more transmission, more power lines, more generating assets. It's going to require billions of dollars in investment just in SPP's footprint. In fact, our latest transmission plan indicates that we're going to have to invest somewhere between $30 to $50 billion. $30 to $50 billion, that's at least 4 to 5 times more than what's in the rate base right now in our footprint. So how do we do that? Can consumers afford that? I think a lot of them can't. So we're going to have to figure out how to make the cost causers pay. And by the way, the data centers are willing to pay. We need to make sure that the policies are set up such that they are motivated to pay, to help pay their fair share of the transmission infrastructure that actually we can all benefit from. Same thing with generation. We're going to need a lot more of it. Consumers can actually play a role here. All of you in this room can play a role, but we have to provide you options. We have to make sure that you have the ability to help us out by curtailing your usage when it's helpful for the grid for you to do so. We have to make sure those mechanisms exist. Demand response. We need to make sure that everyone understands the value in having a diverse portfolio of resources. More tools in the toolbox are always better for our people that have to operate the grid. And it's getting harder and harder to do that. But we can't just focus on a few. Obviously, the utilities are going to have to do their jobs to help invest in the right infrastructure. Not just any infrastructure, but the right infrastructure. And that's the role that we can help play, is by helping determine what is the right infrastructure that's needed. You all can be part of the solution. Again, this is part of the messaging. We can't do this alone. It takes all of us working together to do this. We need state utility commissioners, much like the ones that work at the Arkansas Public Service Commission, not too far from here. They work in our stakeholder environment to help develop policies that are needed to assure that the infrastructure is being funded fairly, equitably, and to make sure that we have the right reliability policies in place to assure that the generation is being built and enough of it. Federal regulators, policymakers need to understand the challenge, need to come together, be on the same page. Electricity doesn't really care if it's red or blue, right? It cares about physics. It doesn't care what kind of energy is behind it. This is not a political issue, it's a physics issue. We need to make sure that they recognize the need for reliability and that they appreciate that and that they work together to enact the appropriate laws. And again, there is value in working together. I think one of the biggest dangers we have, one of the biggest risks, is for data centers or large consumers of load to say, you know what, I don't want to work with the utility, they're too slow. I'll just do it on my own. That's the wrong direction. Or the utility saying, you know what, I'm tired of working through this big 14-state regional construct, I can do it better on my own. That's a fallacy. We need to make sure that doesn't happen. We need the regional transmission organizations such as SPP, and there are others in America that do this. We have to provide leadership, we have to communicate, we have to make sure people understand, buy into the solutions, and actually help support them. And then I've already mentioned consumers have a role to play. First of all, your role is to understand as best you can. Don't just listen. Read, research, understand the challenge. And then support us. Support industry in doing the right thing. And if you have by the way, we're an independent organization. We don't get paid based on how much generation gets added to the footprint. We don't get paid based on how much transmission gets added. Our job is to be an independent bastion of truth when it comes to protecting our mission of reliability. So I'll stop there. I look forward to any questions that you may have. And thank you again for the opportunity, Mitch.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
One quick question I have is, so again, I'm just an everyday guy looking at the power grid, but one question I would have is, sitting in your chair, what's the real risk of foreign bad actors like China and the risk to the grid and defending against something like that?
It's a real risk, and I'm looking over here at my Chief Technology and Security Officer. It's something that keeps him up at night, every night. There's always a threat. Now, fortunately, we have invested a lot of money and a lot of time in putting in safeguards, protections against those kinds of risk. And more importantly, we know what to do if it ever happens. You have to prepare for recovery. That's very important because it will happen somewhere. It'll happen. And then it's just a matter of can we recover in time to make sure that our life-saving and life-enhancing product of power can continue to be provided. Good question, thank you. Yes, sir.
You provided some forecasts in terms of need for constructions and investments necessary. When there is no guarantee that your allowed rate of return will exceed or at least equal your risk-adjusted rate of return, how do you entice investors to invest?
Well, it's a great question. Fortunately, it's not something I have to worry about. Our utilities that do the investments, that build the infrastructure, are the ones that have to deal with their boards or their commissioners to make sure that the investment can occur and they can get a reliable rate of return, something that is fair. And that's what the commissioners' jobs are, is to make sure that a rate of return is provided to incent investment and that it's an appropriate rate. Now, the one thing that we do in our organization, and we have a committee of state commissioners across our entire footprint that work together to do this, is we develop the appropriate cost allocation mechanisms for transmission infrastructure, but that's only part of the bill. There are three main parts of an electric bill. You've got the distribution part. It's the utilities that deliver power to your home. They have to recover their cost for that investment. There's the generation piece. Those are the big power plants. And then you've got the transmission piece. And our direct responsibility is to plan and direct construction of the transmission network. Now, in the past, that's been about 10 to 15% of your bill. It's growing. It's going to become a larger part of your bill, particularly with the investment that we're seeing. But again, it's up to the state commissions to make sure that the regional transmission infrastructure is fairly allocated, the cost of that. And then it's up to the utilities working with their commissioners locally to assure that they get the right rate of return.
Got a question up front?
Hey, I would love your opinions and thoughts on pros and cons of the Meta project in Holly Ridge, Northeast Louisiana, and what that'll do you think, for farmers and residents in that part of the state?
I can't really reflect on what it will do for them, although I would imagine there are opportunities to be reimbursed or paid for right-of-way across that property. I am aware of the fact that Meta has worked with Entergy to at least be willing to fund the first 15 years of that investment. The state of Louisiana, or at least the commission in Louisiana, approved that. They found that to be just and reasonable. That's about all I can comment on related to that particular effort.
Do you expect that it will create consumption or load issues and the rates are going to go up for farmers and residents?
I have to assume that the Louisiana Public Service Commission took that into account when they approved the arrangement that Entergy proposed, which again was for Meta to pay for the first 15 years. I can't really comment beyond that. You bet.
My question is, have you considered what are the opportunities for geothermal, perhaps in the Hot Springs area, and mini atomic factories? So the previous administration was actually pretty high on what they call enhanced geothermal. Geothermal in and of itself requires a lot of digging
a lot of drilling. I don't think there's a tremendous source of that here in this state. But again, what they were touting, this was under the Secretary of Energy at the time, was that there could be an opportunity by 2035 for enhanced geothermal, which just uses enhanced technology, to not have to dig as deep to get to that source of heat, to be commercially viable. I'm not sure that's still on the radar.
You mentioned AI, but you didn't mention crypto. I've studied crypto, I've written about crypto, and
Well, then you know a lot more than I do.
well, it's a very deep subject, believe me. We have crypto mines in Arkansas that are sucking power out of your grid. In my opinion, crypto sucks not only electricity, but risk capital out of our economy. And I wonder if Southwest Power Pool has a policy position on crypto, because to me, it doesn't add economic value compared to AI.
So I probably wouldn't disagree with you in terms of the economic value comparison between AI and crypto. We don't deal directly with the data centers or the cryptocurrency miners. We don't deal directly with them. We deal with our utilities who do deal with them. But I'll tell you what we are entertaining. We're entertaining a policy right now that would reward consumers like that to use the grid when there's plenty of capacity available, because again, that provides a source of revenue to the utilities, and then get off of the grid when there isn't any excess capacity. So it's what we would call flexible use, or conditional or curtailable use. So that is a policy that we're working through our stakeholder process now. It's not in place yet, but I think if we can do that, what it does is it allows for more optimal usage of the transmission network that we've already invested in. People are already paying for that network. Why not get additional source of revenue to offset those costs?
Very good.
Yep.
How about a hand? Hold 1 second, we're going to give you a little presentation. Okay, just 1 second.
Thank you all.
We appreciate you being here. We appreciate Ms. Colleen being here as well. And I know you've got a lot going on today, but this was very helpful. And we have a special gift for you. As many of you know, we're fortunate to be one of the largest Rotary clubs in the world. And for what it's worth, we just passed Tokyo in membership, just so I'm sharing that. But yeah, there you go. More importantly, we get asked to do some pretty important things to help the state be better. And the Department of Human Services asked us about a handful of months ago if we would partner with them on a literacy project to provide books to the young men and young women who are in the juvenile justice system in Arkansas, because they need books to help improve the literacy rates there. And so this club has taken that on as a project this year with the goal of providing hundreds of books to young people across the state. And then in your name, we'll be providing a books with this inscription from a quote from our Rotary founder, but recognizing as a gift from you and the Rotary Club as an investment in these people's future and a hope for a better tomorrow as we build a better Arkansas. So thank you for being here. You bet. You bet. It's our pleasure. Thank you very much. Yeah. So have it. Appreciate you being here. We appreciate the team being here as well and helping us better understand this important topic. Now we're completely backwards, right? So bear with me. We do have a lot of guests in addition to the team from Southwest Power Pool. So I wanted to see Rajesh, if you want to come on down, and we'll be recognizing a collection of guests. And then we have some more members who are joining our mission. So make a big round of applause for Rajesh.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon, Rotarians. I would request everybody to hold your applause till I announce all the guests and our Rotarian who invited those guests. So the first one is Mike Ross. I would request the guests to stand, please, so that people can recognize you. Yeah, Felix Abbas, Mike Riley, CJ Brown, David Kelly. I would request the guests to keep standing, please. Sorry about that. David Kelly. Nick Brown, Suzanne Brown, Van Tilbury, Antoine Lucas, Jim Matchett, Colin Nickell, Sammy Duncombe, Hamilton Bitely, Catherine Caserta, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing anybody's name, my apology, Denise Parsons, Yvonne Hurd, last but not least, the Bailey Clark, and the guests were invited by Mitch Bettis, Mark Murphy, Elizabeth Small. I would request the Rotarians also to stand, please, who has invited our guest. We have Chris Duncombe, Dan Parker, Kelly Bass, Pamela Smith, Shannon Hurd, and Sam Smith. A big round of applause to all our Rotarians and the guests. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well done. That was a lot. We love having guests. We appreciate you being here, and we thank you, members, for bringing those guests. We have 4 new members, maybe I think 3 new members. One called in sick today, so we'll get her next time. We have 3 new members to join the Rotary family today. So Susan Blair, who leads our membership committee, come on down and get these 3 introduced. Make welcome Susan. Woo-hoo!
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is a great day to introduce 3 new members and the perfect opportunity while we have lots of energy here. 3 new energetic members. The first one is Kendra McCrillis, and she is sponsored by Kim Kirkman. Kendra is a licensed employee benefit consultant with the Pruitt Agency, and she took that role earlier this year. She's worked in the healthcare and insurance industry for 25 years in Arkansas, including roles in provider relations and contract negotiation for Aetna and Blue Cross Blue Shield. Kendra is a native of Eastern Arkansas, and she attended Arkansas State University, where she earned a marketing degree. She has coached the Little Rock Juniors Volleyball Club for the past 3 years, and she helped lay the groundwork for the volleyball programs in the Little Rock School District and at Pinnacle View Middle School. But Kendra's game is tennis. She competes in the Little Rock Tennis League. So when she's not coaching volleyball or playing tennis or helping employees and their businesses understand benefits programs, you're going to find her tuned in to college game days on Saturday mornings. It's her favorite time of the year and a tradition that she never misses. Kendra, we're glad you're now a member of Club 99. And we have a member that is transferring from the Wynn Rotary Club, Silas Robinson. And Silas is sponsored by Bill Benson. Come on up, Silas, yeah. And Bill, please. So Cy, as he goes by, is Senior Vice President, Wealth Management Advisor at Merrill Lynch Wealth Management. He joined Merrill Lynch in 2007 after 2 years as a financial advisor for another firm. He's a native of Wynn, Arkansas, and he's been an active Rotarian in both the Wynn Rotary Clubs and the Bryant Clubs. He's a graduate of Henderson State University with undergraduate and master's degrees in business administration. In 2015, he earned the financial industry's leading designation as Certified Financial Planner. Cy and his wife spend most of their time outside work traveling to their daughter's volleyball activities. And in between volleyball season, he tries to squeeze in a little deer hunting. So Cy, we're happy to have you in Club 99. And next we have BJ Wyrick, and she is sponsored by City Director Cappy Peck. BJ Wyrick is a name familiar to all of us as the Vice Mayor of the City of Little Rock, serving her 3rd term. She has served as the City Director in Little Rock for 28 years. A Central Arkansas native, Vice Mayor Wyrick is retired from careers with Southwestern Bell Telephone and the State of Arkansas Department of Information Systems. Before being elected to the City Board of Directors, she served as a member of the Little Rock Planning Commission and the Little Rock Board of Adjustment. She's also served on the Little Rock Commission on Domestic Violence and the Little Rock Youth Task Force. Vice Mayor Wyrick was Vice Chair of the Daisy Bates Holiday Commission, was an officer in the Southwest Little Rock United for Progress, and she served as a board member with the City of Little Rock, the Downtown Little Rock Partnership. Vice Mayor Wyrick and her husband Phil raise award-winning grass-fed cattle on 3 different farms, and they were the Pulaski County Farm Family of the Year in 1995. Also, she finds time to enjoy working in her yard and takes twice yearly trips out west where she enjoys horseback riding and camping. Vice Mayor, we are honored to have you as a member of Club 99.
Welcome. Kendra, Silas, and BJ, you're the newest members of a global Rotary Foundation, a Rotary group of about 1.2 million members, and we're thrilled you're part of the mission here with the Rotary Club of Little Rock. We also have been this year focusing on a theme, Building Arkansas, and we've been highlighting individuals, companies, nonprofits, and government efforts that are building something extraordinary, doing something memorable and distinctive. And we have another exciting video for you to see today. We're lacing in a handful of member showcases along the way, and this particular member has built something extraordinary. Now let's be honest. Most of you have a relative that has been some kind of bootlegger somewhere in their life, right? Let's just be honest. But this particular honoree is the first, built the first legal distillery since Prohibition, and has a great history here in Little Rock and Central Arkansas in general. So take a look at the screen on a Building Arkansas video for Phil Brandon.
I'm Phil Brandon. I'm with Rocktown Distillery. We're the first legal distillery in Arkansas since Prohibition, and our business is located at 12th and Main here in Little Rock. Building Arkansas to me means family. I am a 5th generation Arkansan. My grandparents met at a drugstore at 2nd and Main here in downtown Little Rock in 1918. And my mother was the editor of the high-profile section of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. I'm a 2nd generation Rotarian. My mother was in Club 99. And for me, Building Arkansas means leaving a legacy that we can be proud of, working together to build the community up and to plant the proverbial tree under which we will never sit. With Rocktown, we're showing that world-class spirits can be made right here in downtown Little Rock. We're creating jobs, supporting local farmers, bringing in visitors from all over the world to tour our distillery. Beyond that, we are helping to build Arkansas by supporting local organizations like I'm on the board of SOMA 501, on the Downtown Little Rock Partnership Board. My wife and I are currently chairs of the Arkansas Symphony's Opus Ball. It's important to give back and help the community grow, because here in Arkansas, we can make a difference because we're small enough that our contribution matters, but big enough that there's tons of opportunity. The craft distilling industry in Arkansas helps build Arkansas by supporting local farmers, drawing in tourists, and supporting the hospitality industry. We donate spirits to several events every year to help with charitable causes. I think it means a lot to help build up the rest of the community as well as, serve our customers. Community partnerships help build a stronger Arkansas because together we can achieve more. When businesses, nonprofits, and community leaders partner, that's when we can really create something. Our roots are here, our commitment is here, and together we're building Arkansas.
We appreciate Phil being a part of that series. It's a great success story for Arkansas and another distinctive thing that we are a part of here in this state, and we appreciate Phil sharing that. We have a collection of announcements. Again, all this would have been at the front, so this is fun. This is actually a great thing to sort of shuffle things up. I'm excited. I feel like I'm walking backwards into a meeting. I'd like to call up Molly McNulty, who has a special announcements for one of our signature partnerships with the Camp Aldersgate. President-elect Molly McNulty, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. I can't moonwalk, so I'll let you walk backwards, Mitch. Again, Molly McNulty, I'm here as a proud Rotarian and also a very proud Camp Aldersgate board member. Just want to flag that Fish Fry is coming up October 12th. That's a week from Sunday. So thank you to those of you who have volunteered already. We've got a great group. There's still an opportunity. I brought this up because this is all on your tables, this flyer with volunteer opportunities as well as tickets. So those of you who are non-Rotarians, you can still buy tickets, and we'd love to see you for a day of food, fellowship, fish, and fun. Those were the Fs. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Molly. Do get your tickets. It's an extraordinary meal, but it's also a great mission, and part of our effort to build a better Arkansas is to help those who are in need of that help, and we love being a part of that mission. I have a deep appreciation for Mandy Richardson, who runs our programming. There are tremendous programs like you've had today. And if you take a scan of that QR code on your table, you're going to see some pretty extraordinary programs around the corner. The chancellor at the University of Arkansas will be here in short order. The CEO at Blue Cross Blue Shield is coming to try to make sense of the complicated nature of funding healthcare. And you will see a long list of top-notch folks that are around the corner. We hope you scan that, text that to a friend who needs to be here, and invite some additional guests for these upcoming programs. So thanks, Mandy and the program committee for all of those things. And next week's program is terrific too. And we'll be having a special program next week with highlighting the new Peace Center for domestic abuse individuals who are kind of walking through a very complicated journey, and the unique facility that Women and Children First have put forward to serve that community. And I think it's another way, if we're going to build a better Arkansas, we need to make sure everybody's taken care of in this journey, and I'm excited about that program next week. Also around the corner on our calendar events is the annual drug take-back. This is where you have those prescriptions that are untaken in your counter, in your medicine cabinet, and you need to get rid of that. We do not flush those down the toilet. There's a proper way to get rid of those coming up around the corner. There is, I believe it's October 25th, if I remember right, is Drug Take-Back Day, and be watching for that, and you'll hear some more announcements about that as well. We love having new members join our mission here at Club 99. And one of the new things that we have created this year to help all these new members get plugged into this organization is we've created an ambassador committee where a member who is just being kind and helpful kind of rides along for a few months with all these new members to help get them introduced to the club, introduce them to new people around the table, get plugged into various service committees that we're involved with. We have had so many new members. We are now in need of some additional ambassadors because we've had about 37 new members-ish since July 1st. And so if you are kind, if you are helpful, if you don't mind just a light investment in another human, you are a perfect ambassador. And so we really need your help to be a part of this program to get these new members plugged in. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take a lot of lift, but it is just checking in on somebody occasionally. Visit with me or Karen or Kristen Nicholson, who leads our engagement committee, about getting plugged in. It's a light lift, easiest thing, and one of the most rewarding things you'll be able to do. With all those new members, we have a new member orientation coming up on October 6th. Those of you who are new members are getting notices about that and getting a chance to sign up. We look forward to giving you a little bit of an outline of what's coming up on October 6th. Also on October 15th, our partnership with UA Little Rock College of Business, where we have the official, another recognition for the Business and Professional Leader of the Year. It was Patrick Scheck of Lexicon Steel. You may remember that presentation a few weeks ago. It was fantastic. There's an unveiling of sort of Patrick's place in the wall, the Hall of Fame at the College of Business at UA Little Rock on October 15th. We encourage you to be there. There's a lunch, there's some remarks that are made, but it's a great time. And so be on the lookout for that. We hope you join us October 15th at the College of Business. And there is a book club coming around the corner past President Denver Peacock is hosting at his office, The Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Gradara, which I understand is a terrific book. We hope you come and be a part of that discussion. Even if you haven't read the book, you are welcome to attend. The discussion is really interesting. If you've been a part of any of these, I tend to get like 3 chapters done before the book club because I tend to get distracted, but it's well worth it. So don't feel badly if you haven't completed the book. It's all good. We hope to see you there. And before we close, this will be great because Karen didn't know this was coming, and all of a sudden you can feel the anxiety in Karen's heart going back there. It's fantastic. I wanted to single out one particular member who, since July 1st, has been to every Rotary meeting, not missed a one. And this person has been an incredible asset for Club 99 throughout the tenure of this person's membership, and they're certainly committed to this organization. A big round of applause for Mr. T. Martin Davis. Gold star for Mr. T. Martin Davis, I tell you. So I'm here, I've been here every week, but I have to. He's here because he wants to, right? That's the big difference. And so, no, we appreciate everything you've done for us as a club, and we love your attendance, setting a standard for us, T. Martin. Also, we're down to the end. A reminder of next week's program. I think you're going to be energized and stirred and inspired by what you're about to hear next week. We hope you join us when the board of the Women and Children First Board of Members, Kathy Brown and Daniel Robinson, and maybe some others join us to talk about the Peace Center and how we're meeting the needs of those domestic abuse survivors in our community. Even though we've been upside down and a little bit around the horn, I hope you've had a good time here today, and we'll see you next week. We're dismissed.